Hey everyone, my name is Wedge. Battle for Zendikar continues to bring some amazing new strategies to Standard. We'll get to some of them later this week. Just so happens that Theros rotation has led to some old tribes making new waves in the Standard season. I know a lot of you have been waiting for this for a long time. Here it is, Tribal Warriors, Abzan style. Let's do this. Alright, now Warriors is a tribe that a ton of people have tried to make decent. Most of those attempts were ugly to say the least. This version is awesome. As always, we'll begin with the lands. We're running playsets of Fetch Lands, Windswept Heath, and Wooded Foothills, along with a playset of Caves of Koilos and 3 Llanowar Wastes. In addition, we're running a pair of the new battle lands, Canopy Vista, a singleton Smoldering Marsh, and 1 Shambling Vent. All that's left are 2 forests, 2 plains, and 1 swamp. 24 lands in total. Boring lands out of the way, let's talk creatures. We'll start at the bottom with a playset of Mardu Woe-Reaper. It's a warrior, it's a 2-1 for 1, and it has a sweet trigger, especially against all the decks running Den Protector right now. A lot of those strategies are looking to get a ton of value out of their Den Protectors, many times in the form of creature recursion. Yeah, not with this guy. You're running 4 of these and 12 other warriors. Chances are you're going to be able to trigger this at least a few times. The life gain doesn't hurt either, but you're running this for the aggressive cost, high power, and nice exiling ability. Next up, for Warden of the First Tree. Now, this may not start as a warrior, but the first ability makes it a warrior. It's a little annoying, but you aren't going to use the Warden as a 1-1 for 1 anyways. You always want to buff him up to his 3-3 version. The fact that he's a warrior is just gravy. Efficiently costed creature that fits perfectly into our curve. Easy addition. The last 1-drop we're running is Kytheon, 3 of them to be exact. Again, 1 mana for a 2-1, always good for us. Now he isn't a warrior at all, but we're running so many low-cost creatures that his flip trigger is bound to be useful at some point. With 11 1-drops in total, there's a decent chance we can flip him to Gideon by turn 4. When we do that, we get an indestructible beater that will draw a ton of removal. Even if he just does that, draws removal, that's a good enough reason to run him. Moving up our curve, a playset of Bloodchin Rager is next. The card is hilariously good. Most people don't even remember it exists, but it does, and it will wreck everyone. Giving all your warriors evasion on every attack, come on, that's insane. Menace for days. Attack with this and 2 other warriors, all of them having Menace. There aren't that many strategies in Standard right now that can actually fight that effectively in the early game. Think about it. Really aren't that many, and it triggers on every attack. Super good and super underrated. Our only other 2-drop is Chief of the Edge, another playset, another warrior, and a power anthem effect, all things we want. The mana will be super easy considering the standard we're in right now. Being a 3-2 for 2 passes the vanilla test if it had to, and the ability gives all of our warriors an extra power. Turns our Mardu Woe-Reapers into 3-1s, that's gross. Now, we're not running the Toughness Lord because that isn't what we're trying to do at all. We attack all the time. We don't have time for all this scale bullcrap. Nah, we attack forever. Our curve tops out at 3. That's the norm for most aggressive strategies, by the way, so we're on track there. We'll start with 3 Anafenza the Foremost. She's seeing play in most every Abzan deck, and for good reason. 3 mana for a 4-4 with 2 kinds of upside? Yeah, pretty sure everyone will take that. She isn't a warrior, but her counter trigger plus being a 4-4 for 3 is way too good to pass up. The last 4 creature slots in the deck go to a playset of Arashin Foremost. As far as synergy and pure power goes, this may be the best creature in the entire deck. The Foremost is an absolute boss. Double striking 2-2 for 3 isn't even bad by itself. The fact that it can trigger its ability on both entry and attack, totally nuts. Giving one of your other warriors double strike every single time you attack, that's devastating. Without removal or combat tricks, no one will be able to fight you on the ground. It does suck that you can't give Anafenza double strike, but still very much worth it. The deck runs 3 Sorin, Solemn Visitor. I know the immersion is ruined because there are no vampires, yeah, flavor fail, but this card is an absolute bomb in the deck. Giving your entire board +1/+0 and lifelink until your next turn, if you can get this off one time, you'll probably never lose to a red deck. The tempo gain is so very sweet. Worst case scenario, you can get some vampires and swing in the air, but you're playing Sorin for that pseudo-anthem ability. It'll do serious work against most decks, especially if you drop this on turn 4 and you're facing down anything that isn't a Siege Rhino. Yeah, I hate that guy. All that's left are 7 spells. A playset of Collected Company just makes sense. You aren't running a creature with above 3 converted mana costs. Every single one of your 26 creatures can be grabbed with the company. That's crazy value. We aren't even running Siege Rhino just so I can say that. Also, because we're going real deep on this warrior idea, but you get the point. Collected Company will help you trigger a ton of warrior abilities and will likely give you your 2 creatures every time you play it. With so many creatures in the deck, whiffing 6 cards deep, that's real unlikely. The last 3 spots in our deck belong to Abzan Charm. There's no real synergy with this card, but that doesn't matter. It's in the deck because we need the removal and we need the card draw. The diversity is exactly what you want in a deck that isn't running that much disruption. And by that much, I mean we aren't running any disruption at all. There's just this. Because we're going deep on the tribal idea, we had to cut out non-creature spells. Abzan Charm is going to carry the load. It refuels our hand and deals with the giant creatures we don't want to fight. It's what we want all the time. That was the entire deck. Quick recap. We play a crap load of warriors and abuse their synergies. Mardu Woe-Reaper, Bloodchin Rager, Chief of the Edge, and Arashin Foremost. All valuable warriors. All provide great effects to help us kill everyone in sight. That's the deck. You keep playing tons of creatures and turning them sideways. Need more creatures? Collected Company. Want to make them bigger? Sorin. Fighting a rhino with a big butt? Abzan Charm. The deck is pretty self-explanatory and most of your lines will be laid out for you. The most difficult decision you'll probably have to deal with is deciding when you should upgrade your Warden of the first tree. I know, it's a tough life. All that's left is to talk sideboard. The problem here is that you're an aggressive strategy and you really don't want to remove any creatures you're playing. This is particularly difficult against bad matchups, so no matter what you're against, remember, don't remove too much. The strength of your deck lies in its synergies. If you break them apart too much, you'll be playing with a worse random aggro deck, not a warrior tribal deck. Anywho, Dromoka's Command is one of the best cards in the format right now. You'll want this to deal with other creature-based strategies, especially mid-range ones. There will be games where pumping up your Anafenza to fight a Siege Rhino could win you the game. Bring this in. You'll find yourself up against decks that run Radiant Flames or End Hostilities or Crux of Fate. You hate all of those cards. Abzan Ascendancy is a way around those annoyances. You'll keep some value after they kill all your stuff. If you don't like that method, Whisperwood Elemental performs a similar function but leaves behind more powerful creatures. Really depends on you. Personally, I like Whisperwood, but hey, that's just me. And also sideboard at least a few Transgress the Mind and Duress. You need hand disruption against board wipe and big things you can't deal with, namely Planeswalkers. You are terrible against Planeswalkers. Especially something crazy like Ugin. Yeah, no thanks. You need these hand attack cards on the board for sure. Everything else should be based on your local meta. Test different cards out and see what happens. Just take care not to dilute the main board too much post-board. You need to keep your creature count high, not only to apply pressure consistently, but also to maintain the high value of your Collected Company. This is an aggro deck, but with synergy. Play it that way. Remember your triggers, and remember that playing creatures before combat may actually be better in this deck. It's, little things. If you have any questions, comments, concerns, leave them below. I'll be around to answer as many questions as I can. Let me know what you think of the deck and if there's anything you would change. I always love hearing what you have to say. As always, subscribe for the latest and most reliable Magic the Gathering information you could ever need. This is the Mana Source. I'm Wedge. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.
Wow.